In this WrestleTalk news, is John Cena returning to WWE, Antonio Inoki passes away, and our reviews of SmackDown and Rampage. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
During last night's SmackDown, Michael Cole dropped a major wink wink nudge nudge regarding a certain 16-time world champion returning soon. The man in question is of course none other than John Cena. During the match between Drew McIntyre and Austin Theory, Cole stated, "No doubt Austin Theory is one of the most talented we've seen in a while. He could use an attitude adjustment though." Not the most subtle of hints from Cole there, however this is not the first time WWE has teased a showdown between the Cena of the past and perhaps the Cena of the future. During Cena's return for his 20-year WWE anniversary in July, both Cena and Theory exchanged words in a tense altercation that was believed to perhaps be leading to a match at this year's SummerSlam. This, of course, was not the case, however both Cena and Theory have done their own building via social media and interviews ever since. During a TikTok Q&A in July, Cena named Theory his favourite current WWE talent, but also predated Cole's comments by saying he needed an attitude adjustment, which then led to Theory responding on Twitter saying, "Stop playing dress up and do something then, John Cena." A match between Cena and Theory at WrestleMania has been touted by Theory himself, even suggesting that he should be the one to compete in Cena's last match at the Show of Shows. Whether that comes at next year's Mania remains to be seen, however. With this latest suggestion from WWE, it's hard not to pencil that one in our imaginary WrestleMania booking already. With Brawl out approaching its 1-month birthday, we've still yet to see or hear that much from the CM Punk and Elite camps directly, save for Matt Jackson's Instagram story and a fan posing with an injured Punk for a picture on Twitter. AEW have also quite blatantly and unsurprisingly neglected to fill any of us needy viewers in with any of the juicy deets. Supposedly, however, it's not just the fans who've been left out in the cold. According to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, both the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega had yet to hear of any update recently on the status of their ongoing legal investigation into the Brawl, with a significant holdup expected. The belief is that their situation is on hold pending potential legal action, which, unless cleared up, could delay things for some time, and there is also a second holdup that hasn't been made clear. The details of why this delay has occurred is unknown, but it is likely to result in an even lengthier stint away from competition for Omega and the Bucks. Now for some truly sad news. Japanese wrestling icon and New Japan Pro Wrestling founder Antonio Inoki has unfortunately passed away aged 79. Inoki is undoubtedly regarded as one of the most influential and legendary names in wrestling history. His level of reverence in his native Japan was godly, with an in-ring career spanning almost 40 years. In the West, he was known for high-profile matches against blockbuster names such as Muhammad Ali, Lou Thesz, and Ric Flair. His contributions outside of the ring were equally impressive, with his founding of New Japan Pro Wrestling in 1972 still bearing a massive influence on the wrestling landscape to this day. Inoki also had two successful stints in politics in the 90s and mid to late 2010s, with Inoki serving in Japan's House of Councillors between 1989 and 1995. Inoki's death has come on the eve of New Japan's two-day Royal Quest II show in London. In tribute to Inoki, New Japan Global tweeted, "His achievements, both in professional wrestling and the global community, are without parallel and will never be forgotten." We at WrestleTalk would like to echo these sentiments wholeheartedly and send our thoughts and best wishes to Inoki's family and friends at this time. And now it's time for my review of SmackDown in about 5 minutes. This show kicked off with them playing the full intro for the show, so you know they're short on time and this will be a filler episode. My theory hasn't been proven wrong yet. There is a little bit of leeway on their part though, due to some talent being unavailable due to Hurricane Ian. Having said that, this show kicked off with Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa versus Madcap Moss and Ricochet in a decent enough match. The crowd were white hot for Sami, and literally anything he did was getting cheers, even if it was cheating. I'm so happy he's getting these reactions, and granted, they were in Winnipeg, so you know, home country and all that, but still, I think they're doing such a good job with Sami in the bloodline right now. Solo Sikoa got the win in this match with his finisher called the Spinning Solo. The first time I heard that. It's not a good name. His name is Solo. It's like calling something the rotating Roger, or the twisting Trevor, the gyrating Gina. It's not good, is what I'm trying to say. But would you look at that? They pinned Madcap Moss. Good for them. After the match, Moss try to attack Sammy, but once again, Solo protects Sammy and makes sure Madcap pays, which I am all the way in on, with Solo genuinely looking out for Sammy, only making Sammy take root tighter in the bloodline. This continued backstage when the victors tried to enter the bloodline locker room, but were stopped by Jey Uso, who lets Solo in, but speaks to Sammy alone, telling him he can see right through him, and that if he ever puts the family in danger, he won't hesitate. Sammy just gestures to the t-shirt and tells him he should take it up with Roman. Absolutely brilliant. I love it so much. 10 out of 10, all the stars. Karrion Kross did a spooky promo featuring another QR code right at the end for the latest White Rabbit tease, which honestly, if it's not Bray Wyatt at this point, they are trying to get their fanbase disappointed. Austin Theory did a promo ragging on Drew McIntyre, but Drew was behind him and told him to have a match now. They did, which was short and ended in DQ, as Theory was accompanied by Alpha Academy, who attacked Drew. I may be missing something here, totally possible. Do they have history together, Theory and the Alpha Academy? Is there a reason they were there? Drew was saved from the beatdown though by Johnny Gargano and Kevin Owens, and the main event was made of a 6-man tag with everyone involved. I'm never a huge fan of the match on the show ending in DQ, then restarting later with more people, but I can understand the needing to fill some more time, sort of. They get half a pass here. Shotzi cut a promo on Bayley, and then Los Lotharios faced Hit Row, with the latter team winning fairly quickly and decisively. After the match though, we show the commentary team riffing while a sign in the crowd is brought in behind them that just says, "Revel in what you are," which coincidentally is the wording of a tweet Bray Wyatt did in 2019. And I swear if it's not Bray Wyatt at this point, WWE, you have truly misjudged the situation. After a recap of Liv Morgan going extreme last week, Ronda Rousey cut a promo saying, "Lol, that wasn't extreme," and, you know, she has a point. She then faced Natalya, which was a match, and won with the ankle lock. Afterwards, Liv Morgan came out with a baseball bat and was immediately beat down and made to look like a chump. Ronda stood tall and teased beating up security with the bat, but she didn't. So no one looks good. They then had a pull-apart brawl, which was fine, but the crowd were a bit dead by the end of this. Backstage, Owens says he's on the same page with everyone before walking off and finding Sami Zayn. The two look at each other briefly before Owens simply says Sami needs a new t-shirt, referencing the honorary Uso shirt Roman gave him last week. Simple, brilliant, 10 out of 10, all the stars. Imperium come out to cut a promo saying they will beat Sheamus next week and at Extreme Rules in their good old-fashioned Donnybrook 6-man tag match. I can't believe they brought back the good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. And they said they will also win in that one and break Sheamus' spirit. Sheamus interrupted and said that Ridge and Butch weren't here, but that's okay because he wants to fight anyway, before revealing he had a shillelagh with him, the sneaky man. He beat up Vinci and Kaiser and then tossed the shillelagh away and just brawled with Gunther, which was lovely. But of course, Vinci and Kaiser came back and evened the odds, and Gunther knocked out Sheamus with his own shillelagh. This was a good segment, big fan. Bayley cut a promo on Shotzi, and WWE then acknowledged the passing of Antonio Inoki, who undoubtedly will go down as one of the most important figures in all of wrestling history. Rest in peace, Inoki. Me and Tempest will talk about him and his legacy more on today's SmackDown and Rampage podcast, so subscribe over there for that. Bayley faced Shotzi next and won fairly quickly, but Shotzi has her tank back, and it fires pyro now, so that's neat. Bayley tried to attack her after the bell, but was saved by Bianca Belair. Neat. After several segments running through the show with maximum male models trying to break the record of the longest pose, Max Dupree had had enough and attacked Mansoor, saying he was done with maximum male models. Yeah. LA Knight return confirmed at this point, I'd say. Maybe he can debut on next week's season premiere. I can't get over them calling it a season premiere, which, by the way, would then suggest that this episode is the season finale. Just something to think about. Then it was the main event of Austin Theory and Alpha Academy versus McIntyre, Gargano, and Owens, and this was fine. On the scale of WWE 6-man tags, I'd actually say this was a little lower than average, as they're usually super fun, but this just felt pretty formulaic and not very exciting. The camera work didn't really help either, as it missed all 3 final moves of this match, with Gargano hitting a tornado DDT on the outside, Owens hitting a stunner on the commentary table, and McIntyre hitting a claymore onto Theory for the win. He then hit Theory with a strap, because he's in a strap match. This was a very missable episode of SmackDown, with not all that much interesting story progression, and the in-ring action being largely fine. We've come to expect more from a Triple H era SmackDown, so I think this episode might be a high 2 or low 3 out of 5. Now, hot tag to Tempest.
Rest in peace, Antonio Inoki. Let's get to it. We once again kick off Rampage with the main event of the show as the Acclaim defended the AEW World Tag Team titles against Private Party and the Butcher and the Blade. This was a very entertaining opener as the two challenging teams are still employed by the Andrade family office, but Private Party is reconciling with Matt Hardy. There wasn't a ton of storyline advancement in this match beyond Matt watching on backstage, but the work was good nonetheless. Also, Max Caster called out Ben Simmons, and that got Philadelphia on their side if they weren't already. Shoot or shoot, and Ben Simmons can't shoot. This was pretty much exactly what you would want from a first title defense out of the Acclaim. The action was fast-paced, they were the clear favorites in this match, and they got the win with their finish in decisive fashion. 4 out of 5. We had the Ass Club taking another shot at FTR, so help me God if the Asses win that eventual match, and then Nyla Rose challenged Jade Cargill to a future match. Lee Moriarty then took on Fuego del Sol in a quick squash match. There wasn't much to this one, but I do like to see Moriarty getting his chance to be the one on top in a squash match. He is great, and his eventual ROH Pure title match with Daniel Garcia will be just as fantastic. He beat Fuego, and then Morrissey hit a massive chokeslam. 2 out of 5. Backstage with the Dark Order, Andrade put together a match with very high stakes as next week he will face 10 in the 2-year anniversary of Brody Lee's last match, with 10 putting up his mask against Andrade's AEW career. I don't think he'll lose, but rumors make things more exciting sometimes. We then had Jamie Hayter taking on Willow Nightingale. This was a match between two of my favorite wrestlers on AEW's women's roster, and I was very much excited to see it and very much not disappointed. Jamie Hayter's really gotten herself over as of late, which is remarkable considering it doesn't feel like she has done it by having very many matches, rather by making the most of her opportunities and a compelling story with Britt Baker that people really seem ready to see the next chapter of. This didn't get a ton of time, but they absolutely made the most of what they had. Willow hit a Death Valley driver for a near fall before Britt Baker caused a distraction, allowing Hayter to hit an awesome German suplex and a Rainmaker for the win. There were a lot of points in this match where Hayter was cheered over Willow, which is both strange and a testament to how much of a star Jamie Hayter has become. This was good stuff. 3 out of 5. Hook choked out Ryan Nemeth for talking shit about ECW, and then the Trustbusters left an envelope for Hook. And finally, we had our main event between Roosh and John Silver. This was another fun match that you could probably map out in your head. John Silver continued to be the most charismatic dude around, while the newly officially signed Roosh returned to the charismatic favorite. Jose the assistant got on the apron and was yanked down by Alex Reynolds, and that allowed Andrade to then get on the apron and distract Silver enough for Roosh to hit the bull's horns for the win. Afterwards, Andrade and Roosh continued the beatdown before the Dark Order and Hangman Page made the save. Hangman vs. Roosh was confirmed for Dynamite, which should be great, and that capped off a 3 out of 5 main event. This was another of what Rampage has sort of just become outside of Grand Slam, a solid hour of wrestling that won't bore you, but won't blow you away either. The opener was the best thing on the show, so if you gotta see something, make sure it's that. A 3 out of 5 show, which has in fact become the new Rampage average.